Welcome back, guys, to Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutors Gambit. We're with Miles Edgeworth and Kay Faraday, now on board the presidential plane due to Shelley the Killer's reveal and taking hostage of the only bodyguard left alive, with Mr. Rook dead and Mr. Knight injured and held at knife point. We continue investigating the presidential plane that we've entered, with the president hidden away for this point in time, gathering information, gathering evidence, and more. So with that said, we've looked at mostly everything in this room of the plane that we've gained access to, apart from the bulletproof vest with an obvious bullet hole within it, and a bullet casing. A bullet still in it. The casing's on the ground somewhere, probably. Let's start examining yet again. That looks heavy. So this is what a president wears, huh? Must be made of something super special. Yes, to protect him from bullets. What? So it's not just for show? Of course not. This is a bulletproof vest. Found on desk, has a bullet lodged in it. Is it the president's? You'd assume it must be. I mean, if it was Rook's, Rook wouldn't have a hole in him. Oh, so that's what one of those looks like. Why didn't you just say so? Now I feel silly. Alright, we got a little bit more information there, but that seems to be everything from this section. That was less going on with a bulletproof vest than I thought there would be. Right, we still have yet to talk to some people and even, like, examine the body on the ground. Should we talk to you? Would you really want me being behind you like this? As, I guess, you're so self-assured. I have high hopes for your investigation. I do hope you won't betray my trust in you. Alright, well, let's speak to the two of them, I guess, rather than just the one of them. Shelley the Killer is here. Things are progressing well, I hope. There's no need to worry. Things are progressing just fine. Remember, I absolutely despise betrayals of all kinds. Yes, I know. Indeed you do. So please, do take care not to double-cross me, accidentally or otherwise. Ugh. I really have no choice but to do as he says for now. Assassination attempt. Your previous one where you really went for it. Can't believe I let an assassin onto the president's plane. You know very well it was for the good of the investigation, Mr. Knight. Don't give me that. I know what you really want. You do indeed. Because you heard me say it already. I wish to know the truth behind Mr. Rook's death. But you did also say you were asked to assassinate the president by a certain someone? You seem to have forgotten that there are more pressing matters at hand. I don't often carry out unpaid work, but it's not entirely unheard of. Fine. I'll get back to the investigation. Good. I am expecting great things from you, Mr. Edgeworth. I guess you are. Alright, now, let's examine what would be the elephant in the room of, the dead guy. Let's like to speak to you as well. No, you are a twosome. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. The fact that these shield briefcases didn't seemingly work. Or if they did, then that bullet wound is very side of the body. What on earth? You know, from his left side. But that might be where his jacket is that landed as well. We'd have to see, like, the wound on his body. It's a bulletproof attaché case. Bodyguards use them to shield their clients from gunfire. There was some in-case photograph, too. Looks like Rook and Knight each had one. Bulletproof attaché case data has been jotted down in my organizer. Oh hey, that's the photo I snatched. You can hardly steal a photo at a public event, Kay. But I'm snatching up a moment in time with every picture I take, you know. I take it snatch is your new favorite word. Maybe. The bullet seems to have entered just under his armpit and went clean through his body. Okay, so we are saying it entered from the side. From the side where the shooting did not occur. The bullet passed through the victim. Where did it end up? He was hit in an area his bulletproof vest didn't cover. Like it was on purpose or something, huh? The cause of death would appear to be loss of blood. Attempts were made to stanch it, but to no avail. I guess if it went all the way through, where did it go? Where was is this the entry or the exit point? Considering the direction to the president, that would be the exit point. I'm not sure. The victim bled to death from a gunshot wound to the torso. The bullet passed clean through his body. I would like to see the other point, please. The medics must have been brought in to try and save him. Sadly, it was too little, too late. There's more to check out. This is the victim, Mr. Bastian Rook, bodyguard to the president of Zhengfa. He's one of the guys that brought the president inside as soon as the shooting started, which means he continued to do his duty right up until his dying breath. At least he'll get posthumously promoted. Okay, it's better to know when to say nothing at all than to end up with your foot in your mouth. What do you mean? I mean, bodyguards don't even operate on the same rank promotion system as the police in the first place. Okay. So the victim was also carrying a revolver. Looks like he was trying to use it. He probably drew it on instinct when he felt threatened. We should check to see if he managed to fire any rounds off. All there. No other signs of the weapon having been used. Was this one on loan from Zhengfa too? Yep, sure was. We're always issued with the same model gun. But isn't it the same model gun with the sight on? I mean, just quick visual check. Can kind of see enough. But that went into logic and not to there. It looks like pretty much the exact same thing, doesn't it? Alright, so that is this area checked out, except for the blood field. It's a trapdoor connected to the lever on that curious figure. If someone were to open it, everyone would fall through. Mr. Rook? Mr. the Killer? Don't even think about it. I wouldn't dream of thinking up ways to take you down. Might I suggest you keep your monologues internal? Would be a good idea. That seems to be everything to explore in the area. Which means that my next task is obviously logic, because we just got an absolute ton of it in the last few bits. Might have to present something to someone as well, we don't know, but we start with logic. Right, so we have a bulletproof vest and a bullet that passed through the body and we're wondering where it ended up. So we're looking at the same location then. Quite probably. Also, I'd say that these two guns being the exact same is definitely where we pin those together. And we can see it even more clearly now. Exact same model from Zhengfa. The two guns are exactly the same, meaning it's likely that the one we found is also from Zhengfa. Same model as the victims. The bodyguards all got their guns from the Zhengfa authorities, right? Yes. Are they, like, super rare or anything? No, I don't believe so. This model isn't exactly easy to come by in this country, but it's certainly not impossible either. Ooh, and here I thought they might be valuable treasures. Yes, it is something of a shame. Well, I just mentioned treasures and you actually responded for once. I only mean to point out that if the guns were rarer, it would be much easier to trace them. Yes, wouldn't it? Which would have made them treasures of the evidence variety, I suppose. See? Everything's a treasure hunt one way or another, including this investigation. You could say that. Alright then, it's treasure hunting time. On with the investigation. She suddenly seems a lot more enthusiastic all of a sudden. Right, I'm guessing then the bullet through the body and the bullet through vest link up, but does Knight's position and assassination attempt make up? No. So that's still left there. We took away one from previous we had, but we still got one left. 2 bullets were fired in total. We know this because 2 shots were heard. One travelled through the flag and into the balloon. The other took Mr. Rook's life. But there's a bullet in the president's vest too, right? How is that possible? How indeed. The numbers don't add up. However, there is one possible explanation. There is. After passing through his body, the bullet that took Mr. Rook's life then found itself lodged in the vest. In other words, 2 of our bullets were in fact 1. No way! He's right. If the president hadn't been wearing that vest, things could have been a lot worse. And he wasn't injured at all by the impact. Even when obstructed by a vest, a bullet can inflict serious damage. Sure, I've known guys who got broken bones that way. But the president's okay. He's made of strong stuff. Sounds like he didn't even need a vest. Let's not get carried away here. I want that bullet's ballistic markings analyzed. Remind me what those are again? Guns leave a unique pattern of grooves on every bullet they fire. By examining these grooves, we can use them to identify which gun it came from. Think of them as fingerprints of a sort. You could tell all that from a bullet? Then what are we waiting for? Analyze away! Might be easier said than done. That bullet hit solid armor. The impact will have completely flattened it. You'll be lucky if there's anything left for forensics to find. What? But I was all set for some analyzing. Okay. So the striations are rubbish. Non-identifiable. Excellent. Stopped the bullet that passed through the victim. The bullet itself was crushed flat by the impact. Luckily, it hit the absolutely most armored part of that body armor. There's still a lot of concussive force that would have hit the president, but the president does look indeedly built. I feel like he has enough natural armor down there to maybe shrug off some of the effects. Again, it hit the thickest point too, so how much of that concussive force got passed through? It's low down though. Especially when the laser pointer was pointed at his head. That's quite enough investigating for now. What is taking so long, Detective Gumshoe? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, have you solved the case? No, not yet. Is that so? Then perhaps interviewing another key witness might help you do so. Another witness? Who? You don't mean... The most important witness of all, the man on the other side of that door. He really intends to have me question the president. Now, if you would be so kind as to summon him, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop right there, the killer. You're nuts if you think I'd let him anywhere near you. You don't have the option. Well, Mr. President, I'm sure you are watching us through your security feed, aren't you? In which case, I politely request that you show yourself. That is, if you value your bodyguard's life. You could do it via the cameras. Do they have audio? I mean, well then. The bodyguards are there they're disposable. They're there for a reason. Yeah. What did you really expect? If nothing else, we now know what kind of a man you really are. Mr. President! Stop! You can't do this! Let's all just calm down, alright? Come on, detective, where the blazes are you? Ah! The lights! What's happening? Listen well, Mr. Edgeworth. I would advise you to stay very still. It seems I will not be granted my audience with the president after all. Even with Mr. Knight's life as my bargaining chip. No! Stop! Yeah! Ah! Okay, you won't get away with this, killer. I have seen enough, and now I know the truth. Where are you? Where did you go? Ah! I leave the rest in your capable hands, Mr. Edgeworth. Worth. Mr. Edgeworth? Detective Gumshoe? Sir! Mr. Edgeworth, sir! He took the ref then. I must have been knocked unconscious. Sir, you're okay? Are you alright, Mr. Edgeworth? Never mind me. He didn't hurt you, did he, Kay? No, I'm fine. I only just woke up myself. My head will be sore for a while, but that's about it. So you can stop worrying. Detective, did you manage to stop the killer? Well, see, Miss Lloyd came running out of the plane, and she told us he'd flown the coop. We were too late. I'm sorry, sir. Bodyguard over there told us something too. Seems there's an inflatable boat missing from by the window. The killer must have stolen it and rowed himself across the lake. No one noticed. What about the cordon around the park? I'd called everybody back in to stake out the plane, including the guy stationed across the water. No, so he's completely slipped through our fingers. Not the best look for the department, but yeah. Hey, Edgeworth. Mr. Knight, you're alive. Yeah, no thanks to that murderer. Oh, that reminds me. I found this line on the ground next to you, Mr. Edgeworth. A calling card, marked with a seashell. Guess he wanted to leave a message. Yeah, he did. Left behind by the assassin Shelley the killer when he made his escape, adorned with his distinctive seashell emblem. The killer usually leaves these next to the bodies of his victims. But you're not dead, sir. But I could have been. Maybe that's the message. I can't stop thinking about his parting words. I've seen enough, and now I know the truth. I leave the rest in your capable hands, Mr. Edgeworth. And now I know the truth. The truth about what? Roger that. All clear out here, sir. Over. Huh? What's going on? That was the president. He's coming out. Now? Doesn't seem like actually safe for him to do so. My God, you are ripped. So he's the president of Zhengfa, Mr. President Wang. And you are? It's an honor to meet you, Mr. President. My name is Miles Edgeworth. The honor is all mine, Mr. Edgeworth. I am President Wang. Your efforts on behalf of Zhengfa have not gone unnoticed. You averted something of a crisis. You must be referring to the Yatagarasu case. Thank you, sir, but all I did was solve a few local cases of murder. You are too humble. I have been observing your investigation. You are an impressive operator, Mr. Edgeworth, even if the killer did get away. That's very kind of you to say. So he was watching through his security feed. Sadly, I must inform you that this is as far as your investigation goes. What do you mean? Hear me, foolish prosecutor, for I shall say this only once. Knight has apprised me of the state of affairs, and from this point forward, the case will be handled by Zhengfa's police force, the finest in the world. Even with the killer out of the picture, they're still looking to get me thrown off the case. What do you think you're doing, pal? Nobody talks to Mr. Edgeworth like that. If it hadn't been for him, the killer would have... Detective. Forgive him, Mr. President, but I must confess to being somewhat confused. I fail to see how or why this case falls within Zhengfa's jurisdiction. You fail to see. Enough, puny prosecutor. You seek explanations from a head of state. I say no, 1,000 times no. I will not explain myself to you. Now hand over the evidence you have gathered and remove yourselves from this plane. I'd do as he says if I were you, Edgeworth. Ah. This can't really be the end of the line, can it? Case evidence handed to Mr. Knight. Oh, we really did hand it over. Why? Why has this come so far only to pull the case out from under us? Now, you may leave. Knight, detain the suspect. Yes, sir. Right away. To make an attempt on my life? To murder one of my faithful servants? The effrontery! The villainy! I didn't murder nobody. Cause I... Shut your mouth, Miss Journalist. Answer me this! In a world already lousy with lies, with deception, with sin and iniquity, can we stand by and suffer yet another crime to go unpunished? I say no! 1,000 times no! There can be no forgiveness. There can be no surrender. Why, you ask me? Then I will tell you. He's hiding something. I'm certain of it. And if I leave now, we'll never know the truth. Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Mr. Edgeworth, there's got to be something we can do. Think, Miles. Remember, how many times have you faced situations like this in the courtroom? You've confronted the lies of witnesses and countered the arguments of other lawyers. Has the critical evidence always been laid at your feet? No. And yet you always got to the truth of the situation in the end. With your greatest weapon of all, your words. Oh. Now let us analyze the state of play.
Begone, puny prosecutor! Don't you dare defy the direct order of a president!
He's not going to listen. He clearly means to drown out any objection by means of pure rhetorical force. When an opponent is on the offensive, the best thing I can do is bide my time and wait for an opening. As he said himself, he's a head of state, a seasoned politician. He won't open himself up to attack easily. I can't let him bully me into submission. I have to stay calm and alert. If I can read his movements and expressions correctly, I may be able to find my moment. My first aim should be to find out why he is insisting on Zheng Fa taking over the case. The board is set. Time to make my opening gambit. So who's taking over in my stead then? There's a timer. Whoa, I didn't even get to see anything. What'd you say? Please, about the case.
Did I give you permission to speak? No! 1,000 times no!
I'll buy time? Because he's looking angry?
I am the leader of Zheng Fa. I have no time for your insolent backchat.
I was simply hoping to confirm one basic fact. You say that the investigation will now be assigned to your national police force.
I do! Now enough of your pointless questions!
So if this is the same pose then, I will bide my time again. It was highlighted as red. Is that giving me a hint? What's going on there with that?
Good boy. The interior of this plane is the sovereign territory of Zheng Fa. As I thought, you have no rights here.
Is that so? Could it be that our current location itself is significant somehow? I should keep that in mind. It could be a useful clue. I guess I'll go with the other one then? Explain to me why I'm off the case? First one didn't work. Could you at least explain to me why I'm off the case?
Imbecile! Cease your insolent jabbering! I need not explain myself to you. My reasons are my own, and they are none of your concern.
Perhaps it's time to employ my clue. Oh? So not bide and go... You're saying me to do it now? He's angry. In the course of our conversation, I've deduced certain facts from your behavior, Mr. President. For example, you seem particularly aggressive when discussing our current location. It was the right time.
You smarmy smart aleck.
As you said yourself, the presidential plane is the sovereign territory of Zheng Fa. And from that we can infer that you believe the rules of extraterritoriality, thank you, apply side here. Is that correct? It's a word and a half, isn't it?
Enough! Cease your objectionable whining!
Wait, does it not? It does not. Oh, I assumed that beforehand. Right, he's pressured, so I probably have to go at him again if we're going to do some stuff. But this is the best time I can talk about stuff without the timer going. Yeah, it really is. Are things getting too hot for you? You can rant and roar you like, but you won't escape my scrutiny. It was unmistakable. The moment I mentioned extraterritoriality, you became visibly agitated. All about reading body language. Huh?
You think you're clever, don't you? Let me answer your little question. It's true. Extraterritoriality applies. Your laws mean nothing here. And? Why does that matter, you ask? It matters because it means you are powerless. You have neither influence nor authority here.
Interesting. So the extraterritoriality issue does have something to do with all of this. Let's dig a little deeper into the claim that the plane is sovereign territory, shall we? Give me my time back.
This next move will surely decide the victor. He may be the president, but nobody is untouchable. I just have to find the right angle of attack. Ah! Well, that's just what we'll be sorting out. I'm saying he's being like... Surely you see that you have overplayed your hand. Because if you didn't mention it, we probably would have just went with it. Nobody asked for your opinion. You don't need to obey me. Nothing else. Okay, I've got by my time because he's got his hands up. You dare tell me how to govern? How to lead? You dare contradict me? On the matter of Miss Lloyd's guilt, yes, I do. No, she is guilty. She is the culprit. There's nothing left to debate. I'll bide my time because, well, I still have plenty to say, and yes, of course, she's the culprit, are crap. Responses. They are, wait, like they are literally crap. If I say, yes, she is the culprit, then that's done. And if well, I had more to say, it's just stupid. We need to get him to force stuff out so we can hit a point. And considering it was acting like it was hitting his piece, I'd assume that, like, saying that is not gonna work. Who else could have fired from outside the plane? There is no other viable suspect. Fascinating. So he's claiming that Miss Lloyd fired him from outside the plane. This could be a vital clue. How does that work? I mean, but isn't that like extraterritoriality if the crime committed outside the plane? I'm really confused. Who else could have fired from outside the plane? Billions of people! Right, what do I want to go here then? Does that rule really apply here then if I've only got the other route to go? You believe that extraterritoriality applies here, but can you prove it? Do you even understand what you are asking? Of course. If I didn't, I wouldn't ask it. Have you no shame calling into question the good word of one such as myself? Okay. He's got his hand up. I don't like the replies. I have no more time for this. You clearly cannot be saved from your own foolishness. You needn't worry about me. I'm not the one who needs saving. That would be Miss Lloyd, the woman who was being wrongfully accused of this crime. Oh! Your chivalry is admirable, but it changes nothing. The right to extraterritoriality cannot be denied. This is Zheng Fa! Time to deploy my clue. She fired at you from outside the plane. I'm gonna have to click it because it's not gonna let me do time otherwise. The question is, well, the issue is, I may not be able to call the extraterritoriality of the presidential plane into doubt. However, according to you, she shot at you from outside the aircraft, correct? In which case, extraterritoriality could not possibly apply in this case. Also, we've got to remember one fact, and this is the thing I was like, oh, about, is that the guns came from inside the plane? So I'm wondering if that the outside of the plane rhetoric is meant around that line as well. Well, you know the guns are supplied by Zheng Fa, which means they came here in the plane, and for the gun to have got outside the plane is a bit baffling. Your assertion is entirely without merit, and the detainment of Miss Lloyd cannot be justified. Ah! How could I have? Bested by a mere prosecutor, but I am the president! The president! Checkmate. Well, that's our second string of these chess matches that we'll be having. And they are harder than usual for these kind of games. I don't know. The fact that I'm on a timer is ticking down. And if I make a mistake, I probably am going to lose time, most likely. Because that's the obvious punishment of this phase. On top of the fact that I think I figured out that when we've got the option between two different dialogues, at the start, they are just two different routes that we have to follow now. So I don't have to be concerned about picking one. I can just choose and then follow the route to its logical conclusion. And we get like the clue in that bit and then we get to present it. As long as we're doing our bide our time when they're agitated or striking when either Edgeworth says now is a good time, or when it's very obvious that they are on the ropes. But they are quite interesting, and they are quite easy to mess up by the look of it. Body Language Reading 101, taught to you by Ace Attorney Investigations. That was really interesting. These are going to get more complicated as well. This is the easy stuff, but I feel a bit out of there. I trust you won't mind if we continue our investigation now, Mr. President. Ugh. I hereby officially and unreservedly confirm my approval. Consider it a gesture of the magnanimity and generosity for which my good office is known. Yes, for without noble acts such as these, unmistakably and irrefutably, for which reason we hereby... There can be no other outcome, for our goals are lofty and our hearts... People of Zhengfa, I swear to you here and now, this investigation will continue.
All that when you could have just said, okay, you got me.
Mr. Knight, if you would care to return the evidence.
Heh, take it.
We got our case evidence back.
We did it, Mr. Edgeworth.
We sure did. And now the investigation can continue. Whatever, enjoy your pocket full of pawns. I'll be over here enjoying how you put them into play. Then you will definitely enjoy my next move. Mr. President, one more favor if you would be so kind.
What is it?
Could you please give us your testimony concerning the incident itself?
Now you want me to testify?
Whoa, that's your next move?
If you want the president to testify, you'll have to take him to court.
All in good time, Mr. Knight. He will get his day in court soon enough. But if a person of interest refuses to cooperate at the investigative stage of the process, they are obliged to provide detailed justification as to their reasons for doing so.
That's...
What's the matter? Is there something you would rather we didn't know?
Stand down, Knight. I'll do as the prosecutor asks.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Now listen, and listen well.
It's time for testimony. But we will move on with this testimony, of course, in our next episode, as we have had Shelley Tequila leave us. We have lost our case and regained our case thanks to our beautiful chess logistics yet again. That minigame is going to be very interesting as it grows harder and harder. That seemed a bit out there, but at the moment, biding your time seems relatively, easy to read. It's the fact when people are going to start having ridiculously large amount of tells and other options. But it does seem that we just avoid dialogue options that are like, I wish to talk. But you can almost bet that one of those is going to be... It's going to be the real option to choose at some point in time. Okay? Anyway, this case continues. This murder case. With the body just still lying there on the ground. I mean, we're preserving the scene, I guess, except it's not really that preservation at this point in time. We will continue next time on Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Prosecutors Gambit. Join me then for more. And until then, I say, bye-bye.